Hello everyone, welcome to the Basic Campus webinar. This webinar is geared towards new employees and is geared towards users that are not too familiar with using PCR Educator. So the webinar will cover the homepage, what features are on the homepage. It'll cover navigation, how to quickly navigate to different screens. It'll cover the search boxes, the dashboard, student details, sending emails, printing letters. And although I'll be working mainly in the admin tab, the concepts that I go over in this webinar will apply to any other module, including development, health, financial aid, finance, admissions, and so forth. If you have any questions about this webinar, or if you have any follow-up questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to email support@pcreducator.com, and we'll be happy to address them. So let's get started on the home page. So on the home page, we have different options such as account information, impersonate, history of updates, and so forth. Please note that you may not see all the options. It really depends on your permissions. For example, the impersonate option is only available to high-level security users. And similarly, on the left-hand side, there may be some tabs that you may not see. It all really depends on what modules your school uses and what permissions you have. The homepage shows any recent updates that we may have made. So like if there are any new articles posted, any upcoming features that are being added, you'll be able to see them on the homepage. Then we have account information. This is where you can go in and you can update your password. The impersonate link is available to high-level users. So I'm not going to go in too much detail, but it basically allows high-level users to impersonate other users, so that if they need to help them, they can kind of see how things look from other users' perspective. History of updates is similar to the home page. Except it shows a longer history of updates, whereas the home page shows more recent history. The notification system is used for sending text messages and voicemails. That is something you would need to set up beforehand. So if you do need to set that up, if you have this module, reach out to us and we can help you configure it. The import option allows you to import different kinds of data in the system. And the update option lets you actually update existing data. So let's say that you're looking to update addresses on a household record. You would be using an update template, whereas you would use an import template if you're importing new data in the system. And then the help tab, this is where you can find some documentation, but we are moving and have moved a lot of our documentation to our website. So if you do want to access documentation and articles, you can go to our website, www.pcreducator.com, and go to knowledge base. You can also access that by clicking this link on the right hand side, and it'll take you to our knowledge base where you can look through different articles and search for them. The links that you see in this help tab is the documentation that has not yet been moved over to our website. So slowly this information will be going away. Then on the right hand side, besides the knowledge base link, we have the link to the ticket system. So if you'd like to submit a ticket, you can click on that. It'll take you to our ticket system where you can create a login. You can register yourself, or if you already have a login, you can log in and submit a ticket. You can also access our live chat during business hours. Next, there's a link that says email and call support. Let's say that you're working in our system and you'd like you run into any sort of issue, or if you have a question about something. You can click here and it'll automatically grab the link to the page that you're on, and then you can provide any other information such as a description of your question. You can also update the title as needed, And if your question is related to your CMS portal, such as your parent portal or teacher portal or so forth, you can put in the that link here. Or if it is related to a specific report, you can put more information about the report here. So once you populate this information and hit send, the system will automatically generate a ticket for you. So it'll kind of bypass the whole process of going in our ticket system and manually creating a ticket. You can quickly just press this button and create a ticket automatically through this method. And then when we respond, you would receive an email to the same email that is connected to your PCR account. Then on the right hand side, we have a bookmark link. A bookmark link basically provides us with information in terms of what page you are on in the system. So every single page that you are on would have a different bookmark link. And whenever you're submitting a ticket, or if you're asking us questions through an email system or through our ticket system, when you provide this bookmark link, we would know exactly what page you are on, what division you're in, what ledger you're in. So we would know exactly what page to go to so that we can see the same information as you. So whenever you are submitting a ticket, if you use this email call support option, the bookmark link automatically gets copied. But if you are not using this option, make sure to copy the bookmark link to the ticket system or to your email so that we know exactly where to access the page from so that we can see the same information that you are seeing. Then here on the top, I can switch between divisions and between ledgers and between schedules. So if I'm working in the next year's schedule, I can switch to next year's schedule. And the division and the schedule options are available in other tabs too. So you can switch to another division from any module. And you can switch to current or next year's schedule from the scheduling module as well. But to switch to different ledgers, as of right now, you can do it only through the home page. Next, let me go to Administrator Student screen. And as I was saying earlier, the many of the features that I cover on this screen will be applicable to other places in the system, whether you're in whether you're in admissions or finance or any other module. So when you are on this screen, there's a search bar here, so you can use the search bar to search for different kinds of records. So let's say that you wanted to search for anyone who is in a particular grade level. You could use one of these grade options. The integer option would be used if you're searching, if you're kind of doing greater than equal to or less than equal to, so that it uses a numerical value. For example, let's say that you have students who are in kindergarten. If you're looking to search for anyone who is in kindergarten or higher, you'd want to use the integer field because kindergarten would be assigned typically to an integer of 0, whereas grade level 1 would be 1, and so forth. If you were to search by just the grade option, it'll search based on alphabetical order. So like K would come in much later than, let's say, first grade or so. So let's say that I want to search for anybody who is in grade 10 or higher. I can do grade integer, and then I can select the appropriate operator. So I can say like greater than equal to, and I can select the 10th grade and click search, and I can see students that are in grade 10 or higher. And this is just a basic search. We have a data analytics tool, which lets you create custom reports where you can do more detailed search options, and you can also use filters to do more detailed search options. But this search bar here is typically used for just quick searches, like if you're looking for particular group of students based on their grade level or their advisor or their status or so forth. You can use a combination of these two search bars, and you can use an and or condition in between them. Then on these columns, you'll notice that these columns are hyperlinked. So you can use these columns to sort. So if I click on the grade column, it'll sort it by the lowest grade that I have in my search criteria. So it starts with 10th grade. If I click on it again, then it'll do a descending sort. So now it does it by 12th grade and then goes to 11th grade and so forth. Then on the right hand side, you'll see a little gear icon. This is used to add or remove columns. So if I click on this little gear icon, I can show and hide columns. So if there's certain columns that I don't really care about seeing, I can simply uncheck them and hit apply, and it'll remove those columns. Or if I do want to enable a column that I do want to see, I can check it and then hit apply, and it'll show up in as a column on this main screen. By default, you can also specify how many records to show. So if you want to show 10 records at a time or 25 or so forth, we recommend showing as few records as possible. Like usually you shouldn't go over 50 records, because the more records you show on each page, the longer it takes for the page to load. So I try to keep mine within about 25 or less records. And when you are on this student screen, by default, you only see students that are enrolled in the division that you're in. So right now, if I just click students to refresh, right now, because I'm in the upper school division, I only see students who are enrolled in this division. So that's why I see like 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. If I wanted to see students from all other divisions, I could check off all divisions. Then I would be able to see students that are enrolled in any other division. So if a student is enrolled in a lower school division or a summer division or any other division, I would be able to see them when I click the all divisions option. Now you'll notice that some of these students are marked as withdrew, whereas I mentioned that it'll show only students who are enrolled in any particular division. The reason some of these students, even though they're showing up as withdrew, they show up when I check all divisions, is because these students may be withdrew in my upper school division, but they're enrolled in at least one other division. So they may be enrolled in a summer division, or maybe in a lower school division or some other division, whereas they might still be withdrawn in my current division. So when you check all divisions, it shows enroll students in all divisions regardless of their grade level. Then when I click include all basically shows any students. So if I just click include all by itself, it only shows students in the grade level that match my division, regardless of their status. So whether they're withdrawn in my division or enrolled or graduated, as long as they belong in my division, meaning that they have a grade level that matches whatever my division is set up as, they will show up when I check include all. And then if I click include all and all divisions, then I would see students in my entire school, regardless of what their status is, what division they belong to, what grade level they're in. When I check these two options, I see students in across my entire school. Let me go ahead and uncheck these two options. The next feature I want to discuss is the export button on the right hand side. You'll see the export button in many different places in the system. The export button exports the data in a spreadsheet. So if I hit the export button, it'll export that data, and then I can open it up with the spreadsheet. So even if you're showing 25 records or 10 records or so forth on each page, when you export it, it'll export all records that show up at the bottom. So if there's 209 records, it'll export all 209 records, even though your page or your screen may only show 25 records per page. Let's say that you want to work with a specific group of records. Perhaps you need to update their information, or perhaps you want to send them an email or so forth. you can actually check off any number of records that you may want. You could also search for a particular group and select those records. So I could individually check off records. I could also click this option here and it'll select all the records that I have. If I check it one more time, it'll unselect all the records. Or if I select particular records, let's say that I select Aaron's, Alvarez, and Biervel. And if I just want to see those records on my screen, I can check off selected only, and I'll just see those records. Um, you'll notice that in different places in the system, there's an arrow next to the link. An arrow just means that it'll open it in a new tab. So if I want to leave this page open as is, but I want to work on a particular student's record, I can just click the arrow and it'll open it in a new tab. But if I click on the link itself, then it'll open it in the same tab. The advantage of selecting records beforehand is that no matter what other screen that you go to, so let's say that I go to households, or if I go to the attendance screen or anywhere else, if I come back to my student screen, those records will still be selected. So if you're working with a group of people and if you need to come back to them, you can select them so that you don't have to search for them every single time. The other advantage of selecting a group of people is, as I was saying earlier, uh, you can update things in bulk for them. So if you're looking to update any sort of information for them, or if you're trying to send them emails or printing letters for them, if you have them pre-selected, and if you go to the multi-action option on the right, you can process them in bulk depending on what kind of action you want to take for these records. Moreover, if you go to their details or if you click on their name itself and go to their dashboard, you actually see an option to switch between those records. So here I can go from Janie to Alicia to Athena by just using this drop down or using these arrows. Because I had them pre-selected, I can just work with these few records. The screen that I'm currently on is referred to as a dashboard. So we have different kinds of dashboards in our system, whether it's a student-specific dashboard or a household dashboard or an invoice dashboard and so forth. So basically, the purpose of a dashboard is for you to see a quick snapshot of a specific record. So because I clicked on Alicia's record, I can see Alicia's information, her phone number, her email, her family's information, any sort of notifications that were sent to her, her selections, attributes, and so forth. And if I want, I can customize these widgets by moving them around, putting them up or down. And then if there's any sort of widget that I really don't care about, I can simply exit out and it'll remove it from my screen. And this would be customized to each user. So if there's a particular user who really doesn't want to see notifications, they can just remove it from their screen. But if they do want to see some other information, they can go to the bottom where it says new widget. They can pick whichever widget that they may want to add, and then they can click the add button and it'll add it to their dashboard. And then these different widgets have the option to also export them into a spreadsheet. Let's say that you're on a dashboard and you want to update any sort of information. You can click on the appropriate link. So if I wanted to update the student's information, I could click the student information link and it takes me to a screen where I can actually update this information and hit save. I can also get to this particular screen from the main screen by clicking details. So when I click someone's name, it takes me to the dashboard, but when I click the details option, I'm brought to the screen where I can actually make edits to that particular record. And when you are on the details screen, you can use this menu at the top to get to the dashboard. So if I click dashboard, I can come back here, and then from here, if I click student information, I can come back to the detail screen where I can make edits. There are different kinds of dashboards in the system. So we have student dashboard, household dashboard, and so forth. We also have general dashboards, like there's one for administrator. So if I open up the administrator tab, it takes me to an administrator dashboard where I can have access to different kinds of widgets. So, like, there's address map, data analytics, evaluations in students, and increased totals. Um, One of the most powerful widget is the data analytics grid. And the purpose of that is that you can use the data analytics tool to set up any kind of report in the system. And then you can show that report as a widget on your dashboard. So if I select the data analytics grid and click add, it adds this widget, and then I can use the drop down and pick whichever report I may want to show on this widget. So if I pick re-enrollment form status, it shows me that report in this particular widget. Then I can also click this floppy icon and rename this widget to something else. So if I want to call it re-enrollment forms and hit save, you can see that it renames it from data analytics grid to re-enrollment forms. And you can add as many widgets as you want, even if they're the same widget. So I can keep adding a data analytics grid widget, and I can tie it to different reports. So basically, you can create any report, and then you can add that to your dashboard. You can also create multiple dashboards. So if you have a dashboard where you use that dashboard often, or if you have a dashboard with different information that maybe you use it once per month, you can actually create different dashboards by giving it different names. When you give it a name, you can click add new dashboard, and in that new dashboard you can put in whatever information you want. And then you can come here at the top, and you can actually switch between different dashboards so that you can see specific information that you want to see at that time. Next, I'm going to cover the email option. So if I go back to my list of students, I have a few students already selected. And if I want to send an email to a group of students, I can go to multi-action and then select the email option here. When I do that, I'm brought to this particular screen, and there are a few options that I want to cover. There's an option that says one email per student slash household combination. Let's say that a student has multiple families in the system, so perhaps they have divorced families or split families. If I use this option and send an email to the student will only receive one email, even if they have even if they're tied to more than one family. Whereas if I select one email per student option, the student would get an email per their associated family. So if they're tied to three families, that student would receive three emails if I select one email per student option. So usually schools use one email per student slash household combination option. Then some of the fields here are self-explanatory, like subject, sender name, CC, BCC. There's this two emails drop down where you can actually pick which email you want to send it to. So there's different options available, such as advisor email, billing email, contact email, uh, private email, public email, and so forth. These are all configured for your school. So depending on which emails you want to send the email to, you will select the appropriate options from this list. So for now, I'm just gonna select household email, and I'm gonna go ahead and select the student email. So this would, if I were sending an email in this example, it would go to the household email and the student email. Then on the right hand side, there's a job type option. Basically, you can allow users to subscribe to different kinds of emails like newsletters, announcements, things like that. And when you pick that option as a job type and send an email, it'll only go out to those users that are subscribed to that particular option. Whereas if you pick default, then it should go out to all the selected records. Then on the right hand side, there's an option that says copy sender. The functionality is the same for copy BCC and CC, but basically, if you select the first option, let's say that you're sending out an email to like 100 people. If you select the first option, you would just get the first copy of that email. If you select all, you would get every single copy that's going out to each user. And if you select no copy, then you wouldn't receive any copy of that particular email. There's an action drop down. Let's say that you're sending out an email and you want to tag the records that you selected with a particular action. You can select that action, and then in the future, you could actually run reports to find out who has this particular action. So if you ever wanted to see like which students were sent a particular email, you could tag them with an action and you can track that information in the future. And then here under add fields, you can actually add custom fields to your emails. So let's say that I want to write an email to say dear. And in the add fields option, I can actually pick any sort of fields from here. So let's say that I pick household name. And if I want to drop this information in the body of the email, I can put this in the body. I could also put custom fields in other places, like if I want to put it in the subject, I could also put it in the subject, or in the sender email, or in the sender name, and so forth. So I can say something like, dear household name, we have parent teacher conferences next week. Please make sure that, and then I can put in the student's name. So I'll drop in student's first name in the body. So I'll say, please make sure to sign up the name of the student. Thanks. And then I can create a subject here. So I'll say parent teacher conference. And then I could populate any other field that I want. If this is an email that I'm going to be using often, I can actually put in a name of this template and save it, so that next time I can just select the template and load it, so that I don't have to manually create the same email template every time. Then if you scroll down, there are different options here. There's preview, test, send, schedule, and cancel. So cancel would simply just take you to the previous screen and cancel this current email. But preview, if I click on preview, so here I can see the preview of each email, and it takes the field and it converts it to the actual information that's in the database. So here it says, dear Aaron's family, please make sure to sign up Janie. Please make sure to sign up Alicia. Please make sure to sign up with Dina. Let's say that you have a large bulk of emails that you're sending out, but one of them has to be a little bit different, like you want to just modify a couple of emails from your list. You can actually click this option here and just modify that one particular email. That way you don't have to individually send that email to that particular family because you want that email to be a little bit different. You can just do it directly through here. The other option is the test option. The test option will actually send the email to the sender email. so that the purpose of that option is so that you can kind of see what the formatting looks like, so that before you send it out to a large group of people, you can actually see how it looks in your own inbox, and then you can send it out to everyone else. And then the schedule option lets you schedule emails to go out in the future. So if I want this email to go out, let's say next week or something, I can schedule. I can schedule the email to go out on that particular day and on a specific time, and hit finish, and it'll actually schedule the email to go out on that day and time. To see any scheduled emails, I can actually go to notification jobs, and I'll be able to see any scheduled emails. And if I want, I can modify them, or I could also delete them if I don't want them to go out anymore. Let me actually go ahead and send this email. So I'm gonna modify the sender name to say Bismarck School. Everything else seems okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit send. So when I hit send, the email goes out and I'm directed to a notification screen. So basically, under admin notifications, you can actually see all the emails that you have sent, and you can review the subject of the email, who the email was sent to. You can also, if they open the email, you can see if they read the email, what time they opened it, things like that. If you want to get more details, you can click on these links and actually see more information about the email, like if there was a link in that email and whether it was clicked or not. Any attachments that were in that email will show up here. So you can access that information through the notification screen. And similar to that other screen I shown you, you also have the search bars here that you can search based on recipient emails, subjects, and so forth. So that if you're looking to see which emails you may have sent out through the system, you can go to notifications and search for them as needed.